They look like they're twins.
They look like they're twins?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
They're twins.
Well, welcome. We are on the shirt, the man's white shirt. We are reimagining the man's white shirt. And last week we got started. Trina got started. Actually, we talked about her idea, and we went even further. She went even further to create. She's creating her shirt. I decided to go ahead and get this shirt dress done. So tonight we're going to continue on with that. I took two shirts and fused them together to make a shirt dress. Who does not love a comfortable cotton shirt? And generally they're white, right? But we know that there's so many different other prints today, right? And so you can go into your husband's closet, your son's closet, your boo's closet, whoever's closet, man, for ladies, for a man's shirt. Young man, if we got a guy on here that wants to do this project and you want a larger shirt, I mean, you've got some options. You can go in and grab a shirt. You can take one of the shirts that you don't like, you don't really care for, and we give it just to test it out, to give it some new life. So this is about, this project is about taking something old and bringing it into the new space. Right? So one thing that's very popular this season in the trends, which is what Sewing with Moxie we vibe off of. We vibe from the trends. We take something that's a trendy piece in fashion and we learn how to create, or we play around with creating in a DIY space, creating it for ourselves. Because it's all about your own style. Don't you love your own style? And if you don't really have one, it's like, who are you? So get to know you, get to know the things that you like, the fabrics you like. What factors into style? Color, fit, the cut of something. What else factors into style? The length of it. I mean, you may be a person that does not like anything short, or you may like only short, but fashion really there's a reason and a rhyme for fashion. At least back in the day, I'm saying back in the day like I'm so old, but back in the day, fashion pieces had a reason and a rhyme. Okay, today, fashion is very, very flexible. And right now, this season, the trends are very, very flexible. There are some things that shifted, but there's some things that really changed and they stick out, like the pants. We've been talking about the pants, and only because that's what we started with. The very first project we did for this year was doing, I taught you guys how to custom do a pair of pants from the basics, from scratch, from pencil to paper, measurements, and then create your own pattern. And so now we're doing a shirt, and I'm kind of doing a shirt to go with my pants, although I'm doing a couple of pieces because, again, this shirt dress, it's a piece all by itself. It's a vibe all by itself. I can put some sandals with it, some cute little slide-ins or something simple. I could put some gym shoes, whatever, and I can rock this piece. So I'm going to continue working with that. Trina's going to continue working with her shirt. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you guys will jump in and do the same. Grab a shirt and transform it. This piece over here in the corner, let me turn it around a little bit. This is actually a shirt. This was a man's shirt, and I dyed it. So bringing the color of the season or the trend or whatever your favorite color is, because one of my favorite colors is purple. So even bringing your favorite color into a dye bath, dyeing a piece, actually also adds new life. You don't even have to cut it or change it or do anything else. This top dyed this color, worked so well with this skirt bottom, which I actually transformed this skirt. It was a dress, and I took the top part off, kept the high waist appeal to it, finished that off on the inside, and put it with this shirt, and it brings it into a whole new vibe for today. Today, people are, one of the things that people are doing, they're fusing your dressy with a sporty vibe. So having fun in your closet. I haven't seen fashion be so fun in a long time. It's been very propped up. It's been very kind of pretentious, you know, kind of stuffy over the last so many years. But now it's fun. You can lay back. You can loosen up a little bit. It's not all tight. All your clothes don't have to be so tight. You can relax a little bit more and have fun. And you're probably breathing better too, right?
Yeah.
So come on, join us as we continue on with the man's shirt. All right. So Trina, you want to grab your shirt?
Yeah.
Okay, grab your shirt. And I'm going to reposition these cameras so they can see the table. Just to kind of show you, I've pinned together my shirt already. I cut them last week and I've pinned them together. Again, I took one shirt that I dyed already. These are actually the same shirts. These are identical shirts. Even to this, all the way down to the size, this is an identical shirt. Now, what I did was I wanted to make it a dress. Let's see if we can tilt you down a little bit so you can see. I just push this forward, right? Hey, there we go. I wanted it to be a dress that comes to my knee. I'm going to have pocket openings right here. And so, yeah, we're in the middle of transforming. So I'm going to do, I guess, a little bit of sewing. I'm not really set up. The cameras are not set up to hit the sewing machine. I'm just going to put this seam all the way around. And we're going to talk about it a little bit. Now, because I want pockets and I want them to be hidden, I'm going to build it in the seam line.
You love hidden pockets.
But who doesn't love pockets?
Love hidden pockets.
I do the patch pockets I did on the pants, those are not hidden.
Oh, no, they're not hidden. Okay.
But I do in an outfit, in a dress, I like pockets that you really can't see. So I am going to build the pockets in the seam line, right? It's going to have a little welt lip like this, like so. That sounds like Miss Tab, right? Tabitha Brown.
That's cute.
Shout out to Tabitha Brown. But we're going to do a lip right at the opening of the pocket. I actually had it all pinned together and showed it last week, but I took it apart. I thought I would get a chance to sew it all together. But, you know, Mother's Day snuck in and my son came into town. And so, you know, it was just very busy. My sister graduated and got her master's this past weekend. So it was a lot going on. I did not have the time to come sit back down and do anything. And then Mama's Day, you know, that's a whole vibe by itself. And it's production. So a graduation and, you know, she got her master's. So it was a whole lot going on. It was a whole day of festivities. Then coming into Mother's Day, another flow. So didn't get a chance to get back to this piece, but today we are going to continue moving forward with her. But once she is done, she is going to be
the lip that you put on there.
Absolutely
It actually
adorable.
looks like you can even put a belt on it.
Yes.
Like
Check it. Keep talking. Go ahead. I'm going to show you the belt.
yeah, and it looks like a top and a bottom. It looks like a skirt and a shirt.
And you know what? You can wear, you know, those this year. One thing that they said was not in anymore was like your jeggings, your all the fitted style pants. And I don't like to say but, y'all. And I'm saying when it comes down to your personal style and it comes down to you playing within your closet. I mean, you're not going to throw stuff away every time they say it's out of style. That is not how this goes. You are building on your wardrobe every season. Every season when the new trends come out, the only thing that you're looking at is to see, well, what's out for the new trends and whether or not I want to add something to my wardrobe. Mm-hmm. Other than that, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to shift a thing. Now, there may be some beautiful colors for the trend. So that is generally where I go, add something every year. Hmm. If it's say for example, right now, orange is popular, but orange is not a color that's in all the time. So what did I get orange? I got sunglasses. I got accessories, necklaces, jewelry pieces, rings, belts, things like that. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money to step into the trend. You know, because there are certain colors that are always going to be in. And you can always think from that standpoint, what colors are fashionable all the time? Our neutral colors, Our natural colors, our earth tones are always in. What color is in like 24/7? Black. People love black, right? And then in the summertime, the people like white. So you can rock white and rock any color from the trend and you'll be what? In sync.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter. It's all about your personal style and bringing that across. And the trends is just a little bit of icing on the cake. You get to take a look and see what's hot, quote unquote, and what's not, quote unquote, just to see how you want to work it within your closet. You probably already have pieces in your closet that work for this trend right now. You know, and if you don't, this is the opportunity where you can do what? Go out and shop the trend.
Or create that thing.
Yeah, create it or shop the trend. So one of the pieces that's very popular right now is the men's shirt. It's back in, but you know, it's always in style. Classics have always been in. That is one style of fabric, of a look rather, not fabric, but one look that never goes out. Classics. Who made classics popular?
I'm digging the dress.
Thank you. Thank you.
It looks
Thank
cute
you.
better than the dress.
And let me get my belt. Let me get my belt. All right. So Trina was saying something about, oh, that would be cute with a belt. Well, this is the belt that I am rocking with this. I have had this belt for some years, you guys, and never really had a chance to really utilize it. I bought it. It came with a dress, but I don't think it went with the dress I bought it with. You know how you'll get something sometime and it's like, this don't really go together. So I have kept this belt and now I get a chance to use it.
It got a lot of loops. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So once I finish this dress, this will be the belt I wear. I'll probably wear a little tank top underneath or a camisole.
That's cute.
You know, and that would be the vibe.
Yeah, that's cute.
Simple, simple. And this was two of the same shirt. Now, how can you get, now, of course, I haven't put stitches here, so it's looking a little wonky right now. But it's okay. But how can you know, you can go to a thrift store and you can get some shirts from the thrift store. And as long as they are pretty much the exact same color. Now, I'm going to show you a piece. This was another piece of white. Now, this is not a shirt. This was just some additional white that I had. I cut it from a dress. But it matches this perfectly. So I can use it in here, which I am actually going to use this part to make the lining of this dress. Because it's white down here, white tends to show what? Your underwear. You tend to be able to see through it. You see the pink through here right now. And so I need to line it with something. So I'm going to take this white and I'm going to stitch it around from this little point here around to make my lining so that you won't be able to see through it. I'm not going to put anything up here, of course, because with this being dyed, you can't really see through it. It's the white part that you can see through. So yeah, taking remnants, taking something old and creating into something new. People call it upscaling.
Anybody don't know what remnant is?
Yeah, a remnant. She's right. I said the word remnants. Take your remnants. Well, when you cut pieces of fabric, a scrap piece of fabric is actually a remnant. It's the last of the fabric. A remnant is generally no larger than 3 yards. So if you I usually buy, if it's a fabric that I really love, then I may buy, especially if it's nicely priced, I may buy 4 or 5 yards of it, right? But then once I cut it and begin to create whatever piece I'm creating, then whatever's left is going to be the remnant. Now, again, we're talking about fabric that is less than 3 yards. It's considered a remnant. Yeah, because it's like you're very limited at that point with what you can make. 3 yards, you can still get away with making some, getting away, depending on what the width and the dimensions of the fabric, the piece is. You can still create something. You can create a pair of slacks with 3 yards of fabric, but when it gets down to small pieces like this and then just cut scrap pieces, these are called remnants. But remnants can go a long way. So let's get back to work. So Trina, Oh, you want to talk about your shirt? Let's show where you
yeah.
are. And today you're going to start sewing. You need to go get your sewing machine.
Do I have to start showing today? Yes.
I think that you can start. Why don't you show the people your shirt? You can put it on and talk about it.
Okay, yeah.
She did some really, really funky stuff with her shirt. One thing that's really in, and that who does not love a fabulous sleeve? Like, oh, and I didn't even say nothing about my sleeves, but that's not even a conversation yet because I'm still figuring out how I want to do that thing. So let's talk about you. Go ahead. Take it away, Trina.
What I did to my shirt is I cut the sleeves off. I don't know if you guys can see it. I hope you can see it. I cut the sleeves off.
You step back. Step over. Yep.
Yeah, I cut the sleeves off. And I used the part of the sleeve to do this part. I'm going to take it off so you guys can see it, actually.
She used the cuff. That's the cuff that goes around your wrist to do a decorative piece on top.
So I can show you guys how it actually looks. All right, so.
You want the hanger?
I want you guys to see this cuff right here. So I'm going to put my hand up on it so you guys can see it. I'm going to turn it around so you guys can see it. I used the cuff part of it. I'm trying to hold my hand in the back of it so you guys can see it so it can have something to reflect on, right? I used this cuff part of it. Here, bring it up some. The cuff part of it and put it on the end of my shirt. I also cut my shirt. I cut it, okay? Then
cut the sleeve.
The sleeves.
You gotta tell people what
sleeve. This is from the bottom of my shirt. I made a funky,
yeah.
Girl, what is this?
Well, this is the hem. Okay, well, see, what she's talking about is, like we were just mentioning about remnants, right? And she is learning as she goes along. So first of all, y'all give it up for Trina.
And give me a little grace in a moment.
Hello? Give it up for Trina.
I'm learning the terminology.
Stepping out and trying something new. She's never done this before.
Yeah.
She's learning how to create right here live in this class with you guys. But if she can do it, you can do it.
That's it.
Okay. So we walked through cutting her shirt up. She wanted to shorten it. And this is the bottom part of her shirt. So what she's doing is taking the remnants, the pieces that she cut from the shirt, and she's reimagining. That's this whole project. Reimagining a piece the way it already was and taking it, changing and doing something totally different with it. Right. And so you may think, oh, that's nothing, but you try it.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk. Okay? It takes something to recycle it and create something else. Most people say, oh, well, I'm not creative. Well, all of us actually have creativity in us.
Yep.
You just have to take the time to play around and finesse it. Okay? Yeah. And so this is her taking the remnants from her shirt and seeing them on her shirt in a whole different way. She's going to come up with a whole different shirt than what she started with. And it's going to be something that she loves. Okay?
Yep.
So, go right ahead. So, that is the hem.
Right. So, now I took the other piece that was
Now, let's go back to that sleeve.
Oh, okay. I got my sleeve and I puffed it out. I scrunched it together. I call it scrunch it. Okay? I scrunched it together to get this puffy look on my sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then.
Oh, and I want to say one thing about that, her choice to do that. The way she did it, she just took the remnant and scrunched it up to make it look like the sleeve was puffy.
Yeah.
She didn't touch and change the sleeve at all.
No.
It was almost like she put a cap on the sleeve line.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we sit down, I'm going to show her how to pin it together so she can stitch it and finish it all in one flow. Okay. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay. Go ahead. Finish breaking down your shirt. It's looking good though.
I went to the bottom of the shirt. Went to the bottom of the shirt and I made pockets. I made big pockets to come all the way down. Oh, I made big pockets to come all the way down.
Okay. Now put your shirt back on. Now, the interesting thing about her pockets, because see, when you're talking about, she cut up a shirt and she took the remnants from what she cut up to create these pieces, right? To add these pieces. But the different thing about it is that she does not have enough fabric. She didn't actually have enough fabric to do, where's the fabric coming from for her to be able to do all of these things? How does she have to piece it together to get these long pockets, to get this piece here? I don't know, it's looking really, really cute. So this right here is the bottom center front of her shirt. This part here, she took this part, cut it, and turned it this way to become a pocket.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you're laying this out, it's like a jigsaw puzzle as you're putting it back together. And sometimes it takes you just sitting and maneuvering it. Remember when we got y'all remember Rubik's Cubes? Right. Remember the Rubik's Cube? You had to sit and you had to play with that to try and get it back. Exactly. To get it back to all the one color on one side. So this project is no different. You'll have to sit and play. And you may not
use your imagination.
Use your imagination. And even still, you might not be able to hit it dead on the way you wanted that first time, but you come back at it and do it again. So a thrift store is a great place for you to get shirts. You got old uniform shirts. We're going to dye later on down the road. I'm going to show you all how to dye a piece, take something and bring it back to life by using color, tie dye. Yeah. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So when she's done with this, if she doesn't like the color white, if it's not right where she wants it to be, she can always change it up. So that's what we're going to do as well. So I'm loving the way that's turning out.
Yes. And I got the pockets on the big pockets that come all the way down. I cut it up a little bit. And the reason why I can't close it right now is because I have the shirt on under it.
Now, I got a question for you. What are you going to do with the hemline to finish it? What are you thinking about?
Well, I'm just going to go straight across. I don't want to close.
Okay, so you want a clean edge.
That's it.
Okay, you want a clean edge. Okay, so what we will have to do is we'll have to create a facing to go along the hem of this, though.
Why do we have to create a facing for it?
Well, unless you want it raw, you want to create a finished edge.
Got it. Okay.
So you can, because you cut a straight line, you can just turn and stitch.
Okay.
But I'm suggesting, because you want it to look like a jacket, to give it more form, you want to use a facing. So we're going to create a facing for this bottom.
Okay.
That way it'll give it a clean, finished edge, and it'll look like a jacket hem instead of turning it. See, turning it and stitching it gives it a more casual appeal.
It gives it a t-shirt appeal.
Well, kind of, sort of. I mean, even this is a turn and stitch, but you really, because of the way it's done, you really don't really get if it was straight across.
Okay.
I really don't know how to explain it. It's all kind of in the looks of it. Because you've got this pocket down here, we want you to have a facing. So this can all be utilized because we want this to come all the way down as far as we can. We got to turn it up a little bit already. So yeah, we just want to make sure that she's able to finish this off nice and clean the way she wants it to look. And it's a couple of different ways we can do it. And we don't have to necessarily face it. She can just turn and stitch if she wants. So we're going to play around with it. You might need to grab your sewing machine today.
Yeah.
So you can play around. Yeah, because we're going to repin these. And then while you grab your sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead, sit down, and I am going to position the camera so I can stitch my piece in this waist area. And one thing I want to bring to your attention, you see this little opening? This is not there by chance. This actually, even though it's all just pinned together right now, the pockets are actually going to be in this area. So I'm going to stitch, I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to come on across because I'm going to add pocket sacks. So because I want it, this is a pocket. It's going to be a hidden pocket. So as I go through that, I'll kind of get a chance to show you, and we'll give Trina the opportunity to go and grab her sewing machine. Y'all, but she don't live nowhere but next door. Huh?
You think you just show me how to pin it today, and then we do the sewing machine, or no?
Well, it is 6:30, so I mean we can go ahead and I can show you how to pin yours, and then maybe before we leave. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you how she would pin hers. There is a certain way when you're talking about finishing or stitching a piece. Most times it's not the greatest to stitch over your needles. Your sewing, your straight pins.
Haven't I learned that?
These pins, they look innocent, but they can really mess you up. Okay? So it's best to, as you're stitching, to take them out Now,
Okay.
straight pins, what are straight pins used for? Straight pins are used to hold and secure the fabric, keep it in place, so that when you get ready to, let's get this out over here because this is rocking. Hold on, I wanted to straighten that out. So to hold your pieces in place, okay? It's good, yeah. We want to hold the pieces in place. And so I'm going to, let's go ahead. You want to grab a chair?
Mm-hmm.
Trina, I don't know why you keep getting that little bitty low chair. Y'all, she be down here at the table. She already a little lady. And her head be down here.
Okay, so what are we doing? Do we need this? Seriously? Are you seriously? What are you doing,
Okay,
man?
people. I'm going to turn the cameras down.
They not
So
gonna
you
see
can
me
see.
no way.
Yes, they are. They finna be all in your face. There you go. Oh,
Oh, so
Lord.
you turned the camera all the way down. She's sorry. She ain't mean no harm.
Okay.
Is that good
So
enough?
we are about to take the time, and I'm going to kind of give you all a little pinning lesson, right? So as you're reimagining your piece, to really see how your piece is going to look, you need to kind of pin it in place as you're going along. Let me get this shirt off. I don't want no
So you want to
pins
stick yourself with
to
the
stick
pins?
me.
So they truly
So I'm
hurt.
going to sit that
They
there.
truly hurt, God.
Okay, so we've got a pocket here. We know that she's going to, first of all, let's take a look. One edge of this pocket is raw and the other edge is finished.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to close this edge off. How do you want to finish this off? You want to turn it, or do you want to add some fabric to finish it?
I'll turn it.
Okay, now if you turn it, you are making your pocket width smaller. If you add, either way it goes, you're going to take about 1/4 of an inch off, because either we're going to stitch a 1/4 on here and do like a little facing and turn it back, or we're going to turn this back and then stitch on top of that. So it's still going to be about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch that's going to be taken off.
Even in turning it back, if I don't put the facing on there and turning it back, I don't have to, do I have to turn it back? How far do I have to turn it back?
Like I said, you want to add thinking seam allowance.
Got it.
You're thinking about seam allowance. There's always got to be a seam allowance. What is seam allowance? Seam allowance is the material that you leave past the stitch line to be able to stitch the fabric to fabric. Seam allowance. Without seam allowance, you can't put anything together. Okay? So I'm going to set this up. Try and come bring it down and set it up a little bit so you can see faces. I don't want to make this fall, Trina. I don't want to bust TikTok.
Have it working. Have it working.
Let's set it back.
Is that cool?
Yeah, as long as they can see it, come up a little bit and see it. Okay, so we are going to, let's just go ahead and take this pocket off. Now, we're going to talk about a couple of things. Again, we're dealing with just raw edge material, and she is reimagining using the scraps that she has to go ahead and finish this off. So we need to finish this part off here. So the top of the pocket's here. I'm going to leave that part there. I'm going to lift this up. Actually, this is already done. So all we're going to do is take the pins, and we want them to go horizontally across the piece. Okay? Why horizontally? Because the machine is going to be able to go over the needles this way. Okay? If you put a pin this direction and you're stitching this way, then the machine, your foot's going to go over that. You don't want that. You need it to go crossbar horizontally. Okay. So
thank you.
Thank you. So we have the pins going in this downward motion.
Oh, thank you.
Even here on the side. Let's take some. Where's your pins? You don't have pins.
I don't have them with me.
Okay. Let's take some more pins, and we are going to position and place.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Let me stand up a little bit. Okay, so we are coming down further. Okay, now question. Where do you want your pocket to, how deep do you want your pocket to be? You don't want it to go all the way down here.
No.
Now, remember we talked last week and I said, did you try it on to see if you can actually reach into your pocket?
No.
Okay, so this is what we're going to have her do
yes,
right
I did,
now.
remember? I did because we was agreeing to cut it off at about right here. Because you don't want it to
go too deep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool beans.
Yeah.
Okay, so how deep you want it to come? About here?
About there. About here.
Okay. So what we're going to do to actually complete this pocket sack, we're going to stitch on top. Then we're going to curve to stitch right across. And that's going to finish the actual sack. Okay? Mm-hmm. And then we're going to top stitch everything else down.
Okay.
Get that?
Okay.
All right. So this side is already finished. So we're going to go ahead and do a slight turn on this side. Just so we can mark and know where we're making our curve. I'm going to go ahead and just start putting a couple of pins across.
Dude,
to mark.
You are raw with these pins. I'd be so scared that these pins going to stick me because they hurt so bad.
Well, there was something I was taught years ago. It's like, we're using, I'm lifting this material up to come to put the pin inside of it. But if it was laid just straight out, one way that you can pin and not get stuck is you want to make sure the pin is coming in between your fingers. So if you're securing the fabric, you don't want it to be coming this way. Okay. You don't want to do it this way. You want to come and secure it and the pin come through your fingers like this.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So that is the way that you're going to avoid sticking yourself.
Okay.
And you'll get used to it. It just takes some practice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I am going to just make sure that everything is smooth. Now, it's a lot of excess down here. Let's see if we... Oh, yeah, I see why we did that. Okay. Now, we have to finish this before we stitch that down.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so because the pockets are being stitched on top, this is called a patch pocket. Because we're stitching the pocket on top, and she has to, of course, finish her hem, we're going to finish the hem first, and then we're going to stitch the pocket on top, okay? Because it's going to be stitched through everything, all right? So, now remember when we were talking about a facing for the hem? Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to show you something. Say if you were doing a facing, we could lay this here, and utilize this double stitch line. See, it's a double stitch line here. This is coming from the side seam. Can you see it? I hope you guys can see it, okay? This was coming from the side seam. And so one thing that you want to always keep in mind when you're doing a redo, when you're recycling a piece, is you want to use as much of the finished edges as you possibly can.
Okay.
You want to incorporate it in your design so that you don't have to work extra hard. And again, it depends on what it is you're trying to create. Mm-hmm. And doing something like a patch pocket, pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. You see already, she's got the top of the pocket completed. This is the placket. This is part of the placket. And then she's got the hem, which again, this is the shirt, the hem of the shirt. She's got part of that hem already finished. So the only part that she needs to complete is the other side. She needs to complete that to make it a clean finish. Mm-hmm. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you all keep that in mind. You want to utilize as much of the work that's already done as you can so that you don't have to rip things out and start over from scratch. You don't want to, yeah. Unless you need to. I mean, because it depends on what you're doing. The more you're stripping it up, the more you're going to have to finish edges. These pieces are pretty big. It's a straightforward cut, so it's not hard to utilize what's already there. Okay? So now you said you want to turn. How you want to do it? Because you've got that right there. Let's grab that extra piece of fabric there. That's from your shirt too, correct? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So those are the sleeves.
No, there's not enough of it.
These are the, yeah.
We can't.
Let me see that other piece too. Okay. So again, when you're talking about a piece that's already cut and you're dealing with what's there, you can only work with what's there. Okay? That makes sense? Where are you going to get additional fabric? Now, she could be creative, again, like I was saying. I'm going to try and sit y'all up. Like, oh, Lord. Hold on. There we go. Like I was saying earlier, if you get 2 shirts, same material, the material looks pretty close to each other, or the it's the same same material. It's close to 100% cotton. You want 100% cotton, and you want the white to be similar. Okay? What does that mean? You just want the colors to be very close. Like, again, this was the lining of the hemline of a skirt, right? The lining of a skirt. I cut this out, but look how close it is to this. I could literally put these 2 together, and it would not come across as a disturbance because they look pretty much alike. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So where are you going to get additional material if you need additional material in your design? So you got to kind of you're pre-thinking. I was about to say something else. But you're pre-thinking as you move forward. So now this is what she has left in her scraps. Can we create something that we can take all the way around here? Now, I'm going to show you some things. Let me see. Hold on one second. Okay. I'm just going to show you this. We're not going to use this because this is not the right color. But this is called bias tape. Bias tape you can use to complete a hem. The reason why I like bias tape, and it comes in different colors. The reason why I like bias tape is because it's got a stiffness to it, so it'll give you a nice crisp edge. It's also lightweight. It's 100% cotton, so it won't shrink. You got to think about shrinkage when you're putting fabrics together. That's why I say you want to stay cotton. You don't want to use a rayon piece of something and with a cotton. Because rayon generally is dry clean only. And so before, you just keep it same. As much as you can keep it same, it'll be easier on you, especially when it comes to taking care of it, cleaning it, okay? Something that you guys probably don't think about a whole lot. Even when you're buying off of websites like Shein or Temu or Amazon, I don't care where you're buying from. You always want to look at the content of the fabric because the content is important, okay? It tells you how you're going to take care of that piece. You may not be a person that has time or even feels like going to the cleaners and putting your stuff in the cleaners. The cleaners used to be a place that people would use often and all the time. But more people were not necessarily, some people were into cleaners. When you're talking about suits and things like that, you're probably going to go to the cleaners more than not.
Is this how we would play it? Oh, okay.
Some people still take their shirts to the cleaners. A lot of men, especially, take their shirts and their clothes, their jeans and everything to the cleaners. So you can, when you're talking about the solutions that they use, sometimes it can not work with the material. So as you're thinking about creating a piece, you want to also think about, well, what material am I using? What lining am I using if I need to use a lining? It's best that you keep the same. When you look inside of your clothes, you'll see this garment is polyester with a nylon lining. Well, guess what? Nylon is still polyester. It's just a different weight, a different hand. Some you might see polyester. You might see polyester and tricot. But again, those are still all in the same family, polyester. Okay? So when it comes to cleaning, it's really easy to keep it in the same vein. So polyester is machine washable, believe it or not. All polyester. I don't care what it is. It's something that you can hand wash or machine wash, but you always want to take care of your things as you're going through, hanging your stuff up. I know. Let me get away from that, because some people got a pile of clothes right there they're looking at right now while we talking on the computer. So I'm not gonna bust your head.
Hang it up to make room.
But yes, take care of your stuff, people.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, we're not gonna use that because we don't have. That's not the right color. Yeah, let me show you. Well, she was asking, how do you use it? So this hem tape is exactly what it is. You're going to take it and you're going to use it. And I would stitch on the hem on the right side. I would lay it on the right side of the fabric. I would do my stitch line, and then I would wound up at the end, flipping it. Let me just pin it, fake pin it. I'm going to show you. We're going to fake stitch it in with straight pins, just so I can show you what that would look like. And let's go ahead and use this pocket, for example, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to lay this. This will be laid on the right side, unless you were going to be using it and flipping it on the back, flipping it up. Let me not confuse you. It's going to be laid on the right side of the fabric. Let's go ahead, and I'm just going to do a little, like I said, I'm going to do a little fake pinning. This is my fake stitch line. Mm-hmm. Just so you guys can see how this thing would work. And you see, when I stuck this pin through, my fingers are split. Mm-hmm. So you want to just make sure that your fingers are out of the way of where the needle is going to come out. And I just went back to what she was asking about, how do you avoid sticking yourself? Okay, so you've got that pin to the right side. You're just playing, stitching it, stitch, 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 right? And then you're going to flip it through.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And that's now a finished edge, a clean finished edge. And then she was top stitch over that. And then on the opposite side is your basting, is your bias tape. So that's how you would do it.
Now, I would have never thought to tuck it like that, you know?
Well, that's how it would go. You would stitch it on there, and then it flips through. You see how crisp it is? Mm-hmm. It gives a nice crispness, clean finish. Mm-hmm. And then you would lay that on the edge and top stitch along the bottom. Mm-hmm. Okay. So again, because this color is purple, we are not going to use it. Whew, I'm having a hot flash. No. We are not going to use it because we want, whatever you're using to finish off your garment, you want it to be the same color. Okay. Which is why I'm saying we're going to use, oh, thank you, Trina. We're going to use what we have, right? So she has a little bit left from the sleeve. This, we already cut it to make sure that it was able to be flipped. Okay. So we don't have to worry so much about how this sack is going to be finished. What we're looking at is the hemline of her shirt and how that's going to be finished. Now, the other way, if we're not going to be using some type of finishing tape, let's go back to the sleeve. Let's talk about the sleeve. Okay, so now, what can we do with what's left? We can make strips. You see how this is just a long running piece of material?
Oh, that's a lot of fabric for strip, though.
There you go. So this is just a long strip, right? Now, say, for example, she needed to go ahead and use the facing here, because you don't really want to make this too much shorter. You only want to turn that 1/4 of an inch. Mm-hmm. And so using something like a finishing tape is going to allow you to be able to stitch and flip it at 1/4 of an inch.
Okay. And
not have to take any more, right? Because if you did a rolled hem, you would probably have to do 1/4 and 1/4. And what's 1/4 and 1/4? 1/2 of an inch.
Okay.
1/2 of an inch. So you would have had to take this up even higher, 1/2 of an inch. Which, when you look at it, is about this much.
That's
from
too much.
Here to here.
Yeah, that's too much.
It's about 1/2 of an inch. And it's already short. Mm-hmm. So if she doesn't want to take this much off the seam allowance, then we need to come up with another way to finish that. And one way it's using this bias tape, right? Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and let's take the last little bit of scrap. So how can we take this and make it
What about
work?
Using this piece right there?
Well,
can we use that piece and then keep recreating off that?
You could do that. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's split it first. So we're first going to open up the sleeve piece. Let me put my glasses on so I can see the right line. I'm cutting this right on the outside of the stitch line. It's a nice wide, kind of wide piece. And because this is straight around, we can use this. This way is a little longer. We could use that. Add some Stitch Witchery, which will give it stiffness. And I'll introduce you guys to Stitch Witchery. Stitch Witchery is your friend. If you've never heard of Stitch Witchery, it is a double-sided hemming tape. Get you some Stitch Witchery. If your hems come out, those of you who have babies in school, the hems come out of their little uniform pants, or if you have a uniform and your hem comes out, or if you just got some pants where the hem comes out, Stitch Witchery is your friend. It's something, again, it's a double-sided hem tape. You get it, cut a little piece of it, put it in there, iron it, and it fuses the front and back together.
Really? So there's no stitching?
Well, it's not necessarily stitching. You're right. And it gives a little crispness. But we'll see. We'll check that out as we go along, as we continue to figure out how we're going to finish off Trina's. So we got a nice long edge here. Let's pre-think how much we're going to need. So we're going to walk this across. Now we can get a couple of layers out of this, a couple of strips out of this one piece. So 2 of these together. So I'm going to walk this. I'm going to start with it being a little bit over, a little hangover. Why am I hanging over on this end? Because I need to be able to fold that back. Okay? So I'm laying this piece out. Let's see how far it goes. So it goes about here. Okay? And so let's just go ahead and flip it. I'm going to go back a little bit, because we need to be able to stitch those pieces together. Oh, no. So 3 of these strips from this piece is going to give her enough to finish her hem. So that's not bad. That's not bad. And then you still got a little excess. You still have this to play around with if you wanted to use it as a decorative piece.
And the other piece.
So like this, you could actually move back into the sleeve area. So it's some different things. Okay, so when we've got 2 pieces, because we got 2 sleeves. So I'm going to let you cut this part open. You're going to cut straight down that raw seam line there to open it up. And one thing that I want to do, you need the scissors. I'm going to give it to you in 2 seconds. I'm going to see if I'm able to. Now, if this works, let's try it down here first. Let's cut this. Okay, I'm going to test. You always want to kind of test the fabric out because you want to make sure. So I cut it, the width of it. So I cut the width of it and took this, and we're going to do strips out of this to be able to create her hem facing, okay? But one thing that I want to test is to see if I'm able to, if it's on straight grain, okay? And if I can pull it across. So one way to do that is to just snip the fabric and pull it through, right? This will tell you where straight of grain is. This is the cross grain. Yeah. And it's pretty much on line. You see that I almost tore it evenly, right? Okay. So that's good. So I know if I needed to, I can snip, and tear, and it's going to give me straight strips. Okay? So we snip.
That's a neat trick.
Yes, it is one of the things that when you are dealing with something like this, and you need to know kind of which way the material is going, this kind of gives you a little heads up, okay? Because, there's different ways you can cut it. People will cut it on the cross. People will cut it on the bias. There's different ways you can do it. So let's go ahead and let's see if my theory runs true. Okay, so I've snipped a couple snips in the sleeve and with the what's left. And now I'm praying. Look at that. It did exactly what I thought it was going to do. It gave me pretty much even strips. And so now we can use this to finish the hem of Trina's shirt. Okay? So we just took, this is getting down to the bare bones of it, right?
Yeah.
This was the once a sleeve. And now this is going to become the hem of her shirt. And it's wide enough. We can put interfacing with it if we want it.
To make it stiff.
To give it a stiffness. But we are going to, do you want a little crisp edge?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's cut this end off. Okay, so now what you can do to stop this fraying, when you have a piece of material and it's fraying, if it's a material that frays pretty easily, what you're going to do is you're going to put a stabilizer stitch in it, because we don't want this to continue to fray up. So we're going to stabilize it by doing a straight stitch right on the edge, and that stops it from fraying. Okay? Stitches lock the material. Okay, so when you cut a piece, if it's a piece that you don't want to get wider or anything, then you need to stop it by stitching it.
Okay.
The stitch will stop it. Okay. So now we've got this piece. Now we need to make sure we've got, and this is almost the same width. It's a little bit off, but that's the cut edge. That was the top part, right? So we are going to lay this here. We can always make that a little bit shorter if we need. And this was the center piece. Let's get the frayed edges secured. And when we get a chance, we'll stabilize the stitch with a straight stitch. And what you're going to do is you're going to lay these all together. Lay them side by side.
Just stitch downward.
And you are going to stitch them together like this. Bam. Bam.
Okay.
Time is flying. Okay. So now we were able to take that piece, which started off, where's that other sleeve, Trina? You got it right there. So I'm going to show you where it started. Because at the end of the day, at the beginning and the ending of the day, this all breaks down to it was a piece of fabric. And what you do, putting it together, makes it something. But it all starts off nothing but as fabric, okay? So we took this piece here, which was the bottom of the sleeve. You see, this is the placket for the sleeve. She took the cuffs off already, right? The cuffs wound up on her sleeve as decoration. And we took this to finish cutting the hemline, to create a hemline. And so we took it and cut it up and made this one long piece of strip. Now what she's going to do, like next week we'll be back on and it'll be sewing. We'll be prepared to sew. Yeah. She'll be prepared to sew and I'll be prepared to sew. And finish our pieces up right on the camera with you guys. So, but this is the strips that we cut to finish her hemline. We're going to now interface this piece. We're going to give it a little stiffness. We can use different types of interfacing. She can do a fusible interfacing, which is pressed on. Heat will press the interfacing to the other fabric. She can use a woven interfacing and stitch it in, but nonetheless, we'll add a little stiffness to this so that when she puts this in her hem and turns it up, it'll be a nice crisp finish. Okay. So we'll have to do a video this week
to put it together
so that we can show getting this prepped for you to apply that on there.
Okay.
Okay. Because we need to get these to a certain point, her piece and my piece, so that next week we'll be able to continue to move forward with you guys in this journey. I want to thank you. Time flies so fast.
It does.
I can't believe it's already 7:00.
It does.
I do not want to hold you guys any longer. We'll go ahead and get ready and come back next week. But if you want to join in, you see we're still in the very early phases of this shirt, but it will not take a long time. Once you have re-envisioned how you want this shirt to look and pin it together, the rest of it is stitching it. You can hand stitch, baste it together and then stitch over it. Because the only thing right now, you just want to make sure that what you're using to put your piece together, like the pieces, the ideas that you're using, that you have for the scraps of material, that they're in the proper place. Okay. You don't want them to be, you don't want to start stitching and it's not where it's supposed to be. So stabilizing it and finishing it. And when you're talking about finishing hems and finishing edges of fabric, it's literally turn and stitching. Again, we talked about Stitch Witchery. Stitch Witchery is a double-sided fusible tape. It's something that you can go on Amazon and purchase, and you can use it, and it usually is purchased to repair hems. If a hem of your shirt's coming out, you can fuse it. Unless it's a stitched on, unless it's something that's it's literally sewn, hand sewn, machine sewn.
I'm gonna get some Stitch Witchery.
Yeah, it's actually a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But listen, you guys, come back and join us next week.
See you.
We pray that all is well with you and that you've learned a lot. Hopefully you've heard some things that
Thursday.
You can actually apply to your own journey. And we'll be back next week on Sewing with Moxie. So, reimagining the shirt, you guys.
Yep.
Please.
Deuces.
We're going to go out. TikTok.
Okay.
Bye, TikTok.